John 14:15. If you love me, keep my commandments. Keep my commandments.
Raindrops washing makes my pain stop. Words that change from stumbling blocks. Things that are falling in my way. The laws are here to stay. Raindrops washing makes my pain stop. Words that change from stumbling blocks. Things that are falling in my way. The laws are here to stay. I got to give it up to the Most High. I keep my hands up to the sky. Got to give thanks every day as I pray. You brighten up my day. I know you don't believe what I say. You think that the laws went away. Every step I take, every move I make, everything is for His love. In the beginning it was written, breath of life given. They knew just how to live. They knew just how to live. Following the footsteps, called precepts. But soon lost respect for the weight of those boundaries. Living free, but even when we sin or breach, we can still come back to grace. But the laws are here to stay. Raindrops washing makes my pain. They make my pain stop. Words that change those stumbling blocks. That are falling in my way. The laws are here to stay. Raindrops washing makes my pain. It makes my pain stop. Words that change those stumbling blocks. That are falling in my way. Falling in my way. The laws are here to stay. Hey, He came in the name of the Lord with miracles and with a sword. And if you do truly believe, He said the truth will make you free. You know we all go astray, but return to the word and it'll show the way. So you should give your all, so even if you fall, He will always answer when you call. Breath of life given, they knew just how to live. How to live. Footsteps, called precepts. But soon they lost respect for the weight of those boundaries. Living free. When we sin or preach, we can still come back. We get grace, but the laws are here to stay. Washing makes my pain stop. Those stumbling blocks. That are falling in my way. The laws are here to stay. Raindrops that water takes away my pain. The word of the Lord is guiding me, yeah. That are falling in my way. The laws are here to stay.
Forgive me, O Lord, for I committed sin. I pick myself up and try it all again. Yeah. Forgive me, O Lord, for I committed sin. I'll pick myself up and try it again. Yeah.
Yeah. What? Paganism. What? We stiff-necked, we don't want correction, we hate to listen. Yeah. Listen, paganism. We stiff-neck, we don't want correction, we hate to listen. The Romans took Saturnalia and named it Christmas. That's their tradition, they Christ keep it, that ain't in scripture. How about I paint a picture? All roads lead to Babel. Babylon, them idols can't even save you. December 25th, birthday to Nimrod. Son named Tammuz, wife/mother, her name was Ishtar. Need I say more to convince y'all? Jeremiah 10:1. Same tradition, way before Christ, where they get it from. Learn not the way of the heathen, the workmen with the axe, decking trees with silver and gold. Say you do it for the kids, they still in your soul. Sitting children in Satan's lap, hungers from trees like ornaments, did you think of that? Let me take you back. A slave master asked his wife what she wants for Christmas. He said, let's take the biggest tree and have a public lynching. Tell me how we got in this position. Keeping these pagan days, you really a Christian? How about the feast days Leviticus mentions? The end's approaching, they fooled you, you didn't notice. High time, wake out of that slumber, we getting close. Yeah, the end is near. I'd rather die before I live in fear. Shalom. Paganism. Why? We stiff-neck, we don't want correction, we hate to listen. Paganism. What? We stiff-neck, we don't want correction, we hate to listen. Yeah. What? Screaming Black Lives Matter at the table of a pagan feast that celebrates genocide, to say the least. Father, thank you for these abominations we came to eat. Bow our heads and thank friggin' Thor. 100 million Israelites slaughtered, how we gon' win this war? A Roman calendar, Greek sports, Cowboys versus Redskins. I'm praying for my brethren on Thor's day, giving thanks to Odin for all the land that was stolen from my forefathers, yelling out black power with shackles on, reporting live straight out of Babylon. Let's throw a feast, we gotta celebrate this robbery. They all got eyes, but they blind to me. The curses of Deuteronomy, my people fit all the prophecies. Chapter 28, 31, happy Thanksgiving. No need for real change, there's so many slaves living day to day, running on the hamster wheel, FEMA camps, UN soldiers. They ain't scared to kill real life. We alive, but we dead for real. Young and heartless, numb to violence, scared to feel. We used to give them books, now we hand them pills. Princess popping sands, serve my elder that Millie Rock, come and watch him dance. Put your girl on that boy and she dropped the class. Y'all ain't low, but I got to ask, are we only giving thanks cause we forgot the past? Paganism. Why? We stiff-neck, we don't want correction, we hate to listen. Paganism. We stiff-neck, we don't want correction, we hate to listen. Yeah. What?
Everyone suffers from police misconduct. Although we deal with our constitutional rights being violated, innocent citizens being arrested, and constant harassment, we sit and do nothing about it. You may be asking, what can I do? Did you know that you may have potentially left hundreds of thousands of dollars floating in the air? Yes, you may have had the rights that you didn't know you have violated. Having your rights violated is more than being abused by the police. Did you know that when you are stopped by police, there is a 75% chance that one of your constitutionally protected rights were violated? The United States Supreme Court have made several rulings making even the smallest of violations by police unconstitutional. Do you know what these violations are? My name is Abaya Israel, and I'm a former police officer and a former sheriff deputy. I want you to download my free ebook and register to take my online video course titled Surviving the Police, so you can learn your constitutionally protected rights. The next time a police officer violates your rights, you will be aware and alert and able to fight back the legal way. Don't be that person who was taken advantage of and you never received compensation because you were unaware. Register for my online video course today, so if you are unjustly targeted by police, you will be compensated. It's time to help put an end to police misconduct. Register today at WeThePeopleUniversity.com.
Shalom. Care. Grooming essentials for the modern man of color. Shalom Care. Grooming essentials for the modern man of color. Paraben-free, peace with care. For beard mousse, armpit mousse, or jock mousse, visit shalomcare4u2u.com. Shalom Care.
Brand disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this platform by individuals, callers, or invited guests are their own. The information you hear does not reflect the overall views of all parties associated with the brand. We encourage everyone to research all things heard live or via archive for edification purposes. Discretion is advised.
Help keep the show on the air. If you want to help, you can send your donation to PayPal. The email is debatetalkforyou@gmail.com or through Cash App, $Sal Showtime. Thanks for your support.
Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom. You're now tuning in to Debate Talk for You Radio. I am Gabar Alaha, and this is the Sabbath Meal, episode 34. Today, we're going to be talking with a good friend of mine, Ahran Kaham, Naval officer. Going to be talking about his journey in the military. Going to be bringing him on in just a couple of moments. Before I begin, I just want to give all praises to the Most High Yahweh in the authority of his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, who was commonly called Jesus Christ, and to everyone tuning in now, whether it's live or on the playback, may Yahweh keep you and watch over you always. Big shout out to Sal Showtime for allowing us to use his platform. You guys see the information scrolling down at the bottom, so make sure you like, share, subscribe, donate, and make sure you guys get this content out to the rest of the people on all the social media platforms, so that way you guys can stay up to date, as well as whoever else is tuning in to what goes on here on Debate Talk for You. All right, so once again, Sabbath Meal, episode 34. Got a guest coming on, good friend of mine, Ahran Kaham, who's going to be talking about his journey as a naval officer in the military. All right, so pretty much I'm just going to be asking some questions. We're just going to be dialoguing. He's just going to give y'all some insight, on how it is dealing with the military, being in this truth, okay? Walking as an Israelite and how it's been. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and get him in the building. Let me go ahead and get him in the building. Let me set this up over here. All right. Ahran Kaham, say what's up to the people. You're live on the air.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, man. All right, so first and foremost, if you can, let everybody know where you're actually currently at, if you can.
Yeah, no worries. So currently I am on what is most likely my last stint in the Navy. I am currently in Naples, Italy.
All right, y'all. So he's in Naples now. That's 9 hours ahead of Los Angeles time. So we really had to synchronize his time. And actually, he was supposed to come on for episode 30, but we couldn't get things worked out in time. But we got him here today, so y'all can finally get that long-awaited interview that y'all was asking about. Because people asked me, hey, whatever happened to episode 30? So well, here it is. It's just episode 34 now. All right. So how you feeling, man? How's everything going?
Yeah, you as you already know, you and I talk pretty regularly. Right now, everything's cool. Can't complain. Just taking everything day by day. It's interesting in the world, in the Navy, or in the military in general. Yeah, it's pretty interesting time right now.
I bet it is. I know we're gonna dig into some of that. All right. Just before real quick, just want to say Shabbat Shalom to Kalavana. Shabbat Shalom, man. Appreciate you tuning in live on the air. All right. All right. So we're just gonna jump right into this. So We'll kind of walk it slow, because people don't really know who you are. It's your first time here on the platform. Some people might know, but not everybody knows, depending on who's tuning in. So for those of you who don't know, why don't you give a little background about yourself? You talk
Yeah,
about
no
when you
worries.
came into the military and stuff
I
like that.
got you. I got you. So I came into the military on August 8th, 2002. So I am currently 19 years strong in the military. Like I said, probably coming up on my last go round, looking to retire. It's been um, it's been an interesting time. It definitely has kept me busy. I've seen a lot of things, been a lot of places. The most interesting thing for me is dealing with all the different attitudes and cultures and things of that nature. And as far as what we're here talking about, as far as being Israelite, knowing truth and everything like that, that I came into that around 2011. So I was actually getting ready to go on a deployment to I want to say I was going to Afghanistan. So like we was actually in the training for it, and one day in that barracks, I happened to be on YouTube, which a lot of us are on YouTube a lot. Can't call it what it is. So I was on YouTube, seen a couple brothers. Um, uh, I can't even remember his name, but they were from the GOCC, right? So I seen quite a few videos of them, and it started making me think, started making me question a lot of the stuff that we already had been taught and learned. So I started looking into my Bible right there, which is pretty interesting. So the more I dug in deep, more videos, more videos, more videos, trying to learn as much as I could. Um, and then I want to say I met Gabar maybe a year or two later. So that was also an interesting time because at the
Don't
time,
don't don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't
no, no,
expose me. Don't
no,
expose
no,
me,
no, no, no. I'm just I'm just keeping it real brief. I'm not going very in depth. I want to keep it light. You got the questions, so I answer the questions accordingly. But I'm just giving a summation of my history in the Navy and the truth. So, um, but I was referring to myself. So at that time, it
Oh,
was
okay,
very
I'm safe.
interesting
I'm
because
safe.
I had just did a I had just redid I was renewing my security clearance, and so right after that, they were, I was in quite a lengthy amount of debt. I'm trying to pay that off, and then there was this time, a brief period of time, where I lost my security clearance. So they basically was telling me that I couldn't even really come to work. Um, so I could go to work, but they would never have nothing for me. So they always were like send me home, which is weird. So for the most part, a lot of days I wasn't working. So being that I had just met a bar, a lot of the times we were just on the phone or uh, on like I think we was using Google Hangouts back at that time. Excuse me, and we were doing a lot of studying. A lot of things we broke ground on. A lot of things we got finished. I think there are still some lessons that we had that are unfinished. But I got after that I got busy. Very very busy once I got that cleared up, and yeah, quite a few years have passed. I ain't gonna bore you all with the details. If y'all want to know, of course, y'all can ask questions later on. But yeah, about 10 years in the truth, 19 years military. Um, it's been an interesting ride.
Con. 10 years. So 10 years. So 19 years in the military, 10 years in the truth, and yeah, you like the brother stated, I pretty much known him the entire way. I've been in this about 12 years, and about 12, 13 years, he's been in it about 10. So, as you see, like it's definitely a lot of stuff that we can't share it all online. We can't share it all online because we had to see some stuff. But we might be able to dig into a couple of those conversations. So okay, so now with regard to I'll ask that question that had popped in my head. I'll ask it on the back end.
Okay.
So let me start out with this. So from 2011
Hmm.
to current date, what has the experience military wise been like?
Um, it's been it's a lot better for me now than it uh, was originally when I first started out, because it was it was no giveaway at first because I was new to it, and as most people are when they first step into the truth, you try to be more radical, and there's nothing about
You gung ho, boy.
you know there is. You always know me. I'm a straight shooter, so there's nothing wrong with radicalization. However, you 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 attract more flies with honey or bees with honey, whatever the saying is. And, the Messiah himself said, you got to be wise as a serpent, but gentle as a dove. So you have to learn how to maneuver in the systems. So I'm in a system within a system, if you think about that, because
All right. So pause there for a second. Because I just want to ask, a question real quick to what you just said.
mhm,
So now you have 10 years experience in this.
right,
So in seeing and knowing the military and you saying that how you have to move a certain way, because you're saying some things and you're in the military and you're saying that you still basically got to move, you got to be like wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove, correct? So,
right,
and you're in the military. Now we have brothers, because you've been in this a minute. So
hmm.
now we have brothers who move in a military fashion that are actually in this wall. So is that a wise thing to do?
So this is a first of all, I won't tell anybody not to enter the military, but this is a decision you have to come to yourself. Being that I was already in before I came into the truth, um, I I already chose not to, just to finish out my time because I think I was already almost about 10 years in at the time I came to the truth. So, um, but getting back to the question, there are certain laws that you have to think about like on a daily basis, certain things that if you already know, it's better for you not to enter into it. However, if you are currently on a job and you already have this talk with the most high, so let's take this for instance, right? We know that we normally should wear clothing that is not of mixed fabrics, correct?
Right. Right.
Right. So a lot of the uniforms are mixed fabrics. Like that's so minuscule that most people don't think about that. However, if you're already talking with the Most High and you're trying your best fervently to serve Him and keeping as many of the laws as possible, that I'm not saying that's an excuse, but that should be an agreement you have with the Most High Himself. So it's not like you are willfully breaking this, but if you have the opportunity to get out and not do that, then you should do that. Because obviously, if you're sinning without knowledge, then there's that you are then covered. But then if you have the knowledge and then you still continue to do it willfully, you know, that's a whole nother thing.
Right. So with regard to now, because now we see certain camps, and again they operate in a military fashion, and we know where they get the blueprint for that. They get that from whenever Jethro was speaking to Moses, as far
Right.
as setting up officers of 10 and so on and
Hmm.
so forth, right?
Yeah.
So
Captains,
we see
lieutenants,
that,
all
right. And I have recently learned earlier this year that the way the true church is actually an army. So are these brothers in these camps, or brothers that are leading these camps, are they wrong in how they're setting things up in current times? Should they be doing that? Or, should it be something else? Given that you have military experience, when
right?
you look at the comparison and you have in your knowledge of scripture, are they somewhat accurate in what they are doing in terms of, setting up things in a military style?
I think the right now, as far as, and I can't speak for all militaries, but I think right now the idea of it is accurate. However, the execution is not.
Okay, so let's can you go into that a little bit more about the execution?
So we all know that scripture gives very good detail on how you should do things, just as you mentioned with Jethro and the setting up of, his captains, lieutenants, so on and so forth. So if you follow that to the T, to the letter, and then everyone's in harmony, that would be a more um, it, the outcome would be more effective than what I see we have today, if that makes sense.
Right. Because I mean, it still brings about order and structure. So I mean, it's nothing. So you're saying, the idea of it is on point, but when it's actually being executed and how they're carrying about, there's still a certain behavior that needs
Right.
to be there.
Hmm.
And we don't always see that. We don't always
Right.
see the behavior the um behind the execution that's supposed to be with it.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So, all right. So now, getting back uh to the question, because you kind of had answered it earlier, but I'll just go ahead and ask it again. Um, if you are an Israelite, should you join the military?
All right. So again, if you already have a very solid foundation of scripture, I would not recommend that. Because you already know that there are some laws that are easy to keep, and you will break those laws. Um, However, for me, being that I was already in the military when I started walking, it took me a while to start learning a lot of these laws. And I even have to go back myself and refresh a lot of the times because I'm so busy learning everything else. Um, and you know how busy I am. So uh, I do have to go back and refresh myself just to make sure I am, you know, keeping it to the best that I can within the constraints that I have.
All right, y'all. All right. Just want to say Shabbat Shalom to Michael Paul, Shabbat Shalom, and Shabbat Shalom to Kashmir Gatekeepers Network, Shabbat Shalom. All right. So if you're just now tuning in, we got Ahran Kaham, naval officer, talking about his journey in the military while being an Israelite. Okay. So, so you've been around the world, probably quite a few times. So, in the 19 years that you have been serving in the Navy. So,
Yeah, yeah, I've been some
uh,
places.
right. So, um, from let's talk about your exposure to other religions and cultures and backgrounds and stuff. So so once you came into the walk and you're in these different countries, how was it, executing, the walk and, exercising the law, statutes, and commandments, keeping Torah and, believing in the Messiah and all that? How was that? How did you have to move while in these other countries?
Um, I I feel like I moved pretty freely when I go to any country, because once I'm once I'm off of a base, and once I'm out in the town or the city or the province, or wherever I am and what they call it, I move and think and act as a Hebrew, and not as most majority as a military man, right? So sometimes there are places that are more accepting of you as a, I want to say, a black man, because most people understand that. But a lot of these other countries, they know who we are. A lot of the people, they understand what we are on the planet for, and what they know better than you do a lot of the times. So a lot of these other people in these countries, they are waiting literally for uh, the the chosen tribe to like really wake up and understand who they are. Like, that's a real thing.
Okay, well, what you just said was just kind of proud. So the whole world is waiting on. So you said, basically saying the whole world is waiting on us, while we saying, "Woe is me" to the rest of the world. We're saying "Woe is me" to the rest of the world, but then the whole world is waiting on us.
Yeah, like uh so I have a good buddy of mine, one that you met too, a brother named Tyrone, and we went to,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So we went to, where did we go to? Um, I think we were in. I want to say we were in Dubai. He and I were out on the town. Just random people walking up, and then it's like, hey, can we take a picture with y'all? Don't even know these people from you know anybody. And then we get to talking. It's like, we know who y'all are. It's like, what? What are you talking about? We ain't nobody. We're not a celebrity or nothing like that. But like, we know. So it's like, what do you know? Obviously, you give them the inquiry, dig a little deep. Like, we're like you, and some of them are actually brothers that live in these lands. So I say that to say this: there hasn't been many places that I've been to where I haven't run into a black person. Um, I've, I've even seen some black people out here in Italy. But getting back to my story, um, they actually tell you, yeah, we know y'all the original people. Like, y'all need to come on. Like, we waiting on y'all. It's the actual real story. And if you can, excuse me, if you can hit him up. He will tell you the same thing. Like, a lot of people do say that. So they're waiting
I,
on us.
I mean, did y'all have on fringes that day or something?
No, no, no. So remember, I met him before I met you, and once I started walking, he was already there, because I knew him before you. So um, by us going through to these places, we're just dressed like normal people. It's just, I guess it's just the way he and I carried ourselves. It's not, you know, on a deployment, people go out in town. There's a lot of people that act like Americans. There are a lot of, and you can take that for what you will. Let your mind be creative. Um, but there are some people who are like us. We have like a sense of humility. Like, we go out and we actually deal with the people, and sometimes we'll see people that's in need. Like, he and I, we were always like giving to people, um, and then that's generally when it happens. Like that conversation will come up. It's happened more than once, and I used to think it was odd, but that's the Most High speaking through them to us. If, if you want to call it the simplest thing, that's Him speaking through them to us. Like, come on, because what does the Scripture say? We can have all the faith in the world, but if you ain't putting in no work, what are you really doing? So,
Come on, say that again, man. Cause boy, let me tell you, man, that's been a hot these Christian apologists, bro. I know you've been kind of out of the loop because you've been on your deployment, but boy, these Christian apologists, man, it's like trying to beat that into their head is like, oh, anyway, because I don't want to have them come on here and then they disrupt what we got going on. So, but yeah, all right, so as far as culture shock, now
mhm,
when you in these places, because every culture's got different things and stuff. I mean, I've even heard in Dubai, like I remember I actually knew a sister like back in the day. She was actually out there. This was before I was married, y'all. Before I was married, I knew a sister, and she was actually out there, and
mhm,
she was just telling me about how like I guess during that time, I don't know if this was if it was like their Shabbat or whatever was going on. Something was going on where everything had shut down. Everything had shut down.
mhm,
There was no buying and selling. I'm not sure what Pacific time it was, but she was in Dubai and
mhm.
like she had shut that down and stuff. I mean, like, yeah, she had told me about how like they like shut down the whole city for the day, and it was like a Sabbath kind of thing, kind of in a sense. So, um, with having to live in these different places and possibly adhering to certain rules and regulations. I mean, I understand when you go on base, then you're on base, you adhere to the rules on base. But in the general public of these different countries, um what have been like some setbacks as far as like foods that you have access to, whether they're clean or unclean, clothing, I mean, like, yeah, like what I'm saying, like give us insight on what those experiences are like whenever you are traveling around, because all of us don't always get to travel. So in the event that we do start traveling, like what are we gonna have to be faced with? What challenges, with the culture
So,
shock and stuff like that.
so I'm very new to the current location that I am, so I haven't really got the ins and outs on that. But a lot of the Middle Eastern countries I've been to, um, and that's a whole nother story. But a lot of those countries I've been to, it was not difficult at all. Like, so obviously you go to I shop in all their stores. I got all the food like I needed to. Um, they they Most of their stores are more bountiful or plentiful than a lot of our stores are. So I could get all the lamb I wanted, all the beef if I wanted that. They definitely had excuse me, definitely had all fresh veggies and stuff like that. So food was never an issue for me in the Middle East. Um, when I was down in um, South America, from what I can remember, because that was a while back. But from what I remember, um, again, all the people that I met were very very welcoming, and they were open to talking and wanting to show you around and help you out with anything you needed. It's just you just had to ask, and then they would show you where you can get stuff. So I know most of us are used to the U.S. mind state of you know is kill or be killed. The strongest survive, all that type of stuff. But a lot of other countries, they are more appreciative of you being there because obviously you're going to help them more than you know, more than you think. So as far as clothing, uh, in the Middle East, I knew tons of people. They could make whatever you wanted. All you had to do was show them a picture of it, and you can get whatever you wanted made. I'm hoping that I can get back over there because I have like all types of ideas of things that I want made. Um, Even if you just wanted a suit, you know, you could get two suits custom made for like $150. And I'm telling you, it's so whatever you wanted. I even had a custom chain made out there with of the Aleph symbol. You know, the Aleph bet, the first letter of the Hebrew Aleph bet. So I had that made. Um, you know, a guy asked me why I wanted it made, and I just told him, "Yo, this is representative of me," and he made it. So people are very, very open to helping you with no matter what you want. So it you wouldn't have a problem at all. You just can't go in there with that American mind state. You have to be humble.
Yeah, I hear that often, and that some military personnel, they're real snobbish and uptight and really arrogant, and when they go into these other countries and stuff. So that is what I hear often from foreigners who come over here,
Hmm.
and then they talk about the military personnel that are in their
Right,
homelands, and
right.
that's actually what they have to say. So
Hmm.
yeah, I definitely can attest to that as well. So so we're coming up at about 40 something minutes now. So let's dig into this a little bit more. So policies and procedures while you in the military.
Hmm.
I don't know how much you could talk about, but how has that been? Because the military, I mean, it's the military. It's like you doing it our way, or you probably gonna go to jail, or something. So there a number of things could happen. So you know, um, uh, let's talk about that. What are
So
the
I will
challenges?
I will say this, and I have to be very general about this because there are a lot of things I really cannot, you know, I really can't say. Um, but again, as I first said, it was a lot. It was a lot harder when I first started walking than it is now. And once I started learning more about each, the military and my walk, I figured out how I can move and then still do certain things. So if let's say for um, let's say for some of the feast days, all right. Um, if there's one that I absolutely want to celebrate, and I know it's coming up, and this is why I usually try to get the calendar as soon as it comes out, and I understand, like when you put it together, Gabar, that sometimes you are waiting on certain things to fall just so you can see how excuse me, how the rest of the calendar plays out. So I get that, right? But if there are certain days and they're far enough apart, holy days that I want to celebrate, I just take leave for them. All right. Um, you know because what's 8 days when you're already working. You could tell them, um, if they ask what you want to take this leave for, because people are nosy. I mean, that's just what it is. So you can tell them whatever you want. So you can say that you are you're celebrating a holiday. This is a tenet of my religion. And I would like to celebrate with whatever holy day it is. And I usually haven't had a problem with that. So um, there are a lot of times where I have to work on the Shabbat, but being that I'm more senior now, I usually I'm usually always in a position where if I can work it, I won't work every Shabbat. I may have to sacrifice every other Shabbat, just so I can appease both sides. I can get what I want, but I'm still, you know, still doing my work. You don't have to be disruptive, but still try to get more and more out of it. So generally, they may put you in a position where you can have off every Shabbat, and then you only have to worry about the feast days. Um, Now we're in a position where they are, with a lot of things that are coming out, they're saying, you can route religious exemptions or accommodations for things. I can't get too in depth in that, but uh, the purpose of that is to help you. Obviously, they will evaluate your claims and your sincerity, and then they'll try to help you accommodate whatever it is you're asking.
Okay, so this is going to lead me to the question that might be the elephant in the room. So, so, and you can share as much or as little details as you want about it. But I just want to see if you're even able to share anything at all. Because people are asking questions. People are asking questions. I know I've gotten messaged about it quite a few times. Because of the insight that I have on this particular topic. The COVID-19 vaccine. Now, I'm not going to discuss vaccines. That I know the military, they do mandate vaccines and stuff like that. So I won't discuss anything that may or may not have been taken in the past. But I just want to highlight this one. So the first question that I have for you, uh, what is exactly the military doing about the COVID-19 vaccine? Is it you either take it or you're going to jail, you either take it or you're getting out? Like what are they, if you can share it, like what are they saying?
So nobody's going to jail, to my understanding, and that could change tomorrow. But currently, to my understanding, nobody's going to jail over it. However, the the focus is to try to get the excuse me the armed forces uh, vaccinated, or to a point where uh, I don't even know how to word that. To a point.
There's herd immunity.
I'm sorry.
There's herd immunity.
No, no. So it's either they want you to be vaccinated, or you know you. So like if it's in it's in your record, or your medical record, or something of that effect, like it's why you can't take this. So I bring up my friend Tyrone again. So the whole time I known him, he never got the flu vaccine, but I don't know how he did it, because in his record it said that he was allergic to eggs or whatever. Um, but we'll have a conversation about that offline. But so, like, if you have these things in your record, then you can't. They'll leave you alone about taking certain vaccines. So, um, again, they now have these religious exemptions and medical exemptions as far as COVID-19. So they are going through this process, and the process is very lengthy for everybody who has already applied for them and are trying to get evaluated and things of that nature. So um, it will be a while before we see exactly what happens with everybody who has started this process.
Okay. So just to make it clear, so everybody is tuned in. So if you are and this is and I'm assuming this just isn't for military, but this is just all for all government branches, right? That are federal. Like it's pretty much the same process.
Yeah, they want the DoD civilians and civilians that actually are contracted through the military to also be vaccinated as well. So it's not just about the military persons who actually are enlisted to serve.
Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. So again, because some people just they was coming at me like I didn't know what I was talking about. So that's why I just kind of wanted you to kind of put some of the information out there that it ain't just you walk up to them and you just tell them, well, I don't believe in this, well, I believe in that. It's your statement of faith and all that. Like again, the brother just stated they're having military personnel that are on active duty go through a very lengthy process. Okay, they're going through a very lengthy process in order to get this exemption. It's not just you walk in and you say you make your statement of faith. That's not how it's working. It's a lot more to it, you know. So, but we won't go into details about that. I guess I can say this though. I guess I can say this. From what I know, you do need an authoritative figure to co-sign for you.
Yes.
That is what I do know. You do need an authoritative figure in the belief of your religion to co-sign for you, whether it be a pastor, preacher, teacher, minister, chaplain, priest, whatever, bishop, somebody of an authoritative position who can sign off for you. All right. That is what I know is what is required. If you can correct me on that, Ahran, if you want to.
No. So I don't know. Excuse me. I can only speak on the directives I read as far as the Navy, but one of them is a Department of Defense instruction. So it covers all branches. And what I've read through all of them, you are going to need like your elder, or as you stated, all those other titles, somebody who is going to basically co-sign that what you're saying is true and exact.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Actually, I hope this video helps you out. It might be keeping tabs on, maybe be like, oh, well, he really is serious. He going live. But anyway, uh, yeah, man. So, all right. So now I kind of want to shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
I actually want to talk about it's kind of a hot topic right now. Um, I want you to talk about
Mhm.
your journey and how, as far as like your DNA research into knowing who you are.
Oh,
Say because
okay.
someone in the military, you don't always hear someone that's in the military talk about how he came across his DNA and everything. So why don't you kind
Okay.
of shed light on that like a little bit?
Yeah, yeah, no worries. That's actually pretty interesting. So, I want to, like most of us, I've always wondered where my people come from, and as I started my walk, and many of you may be wondering where I'm going with this. I'm gonna get to it. So, as I started my walk, they will always say, um, the brothers that were landed in this location, they're of this tribe. The brothers in this location, they're of this tribe. So, I always wanted, me as I'm a person that needs, I just don't, I can't hear what you're telling me. I need actual data to back up what I'm saying, because if I'm going to speak intelligently to anybody, if I go in any room, I want to be not pretty much boastful, but I want to be confident about the things that I'm saying. So me personally, I started a DNA trying to retrace my DNA. So I tried to reverse trace it, starting right around the end of 2014, I want to say, and then close to 2015, right before I I deployed to Bahrain. I did, so one I did with ancestry, whatever, I get it. But right after I took that test, I still was like, so I started to learn everything I could learn about DNA. You know, I ain't saying I'm a scholar on DNA, but I learned everything I could about DNA, how I could break it down and really tell where I'm from. So I came upon these things called haplotypes, right? And a uh, haplotype comes from a haplogroup, and basically it's like a letter and number code, and it will tell you where your ancestors have been throughout history. And excuse me, so ancestry.com does not give you one of these haplotypes. So you have to find a company that actually gives you this type of information. So I found another one. I did a second DNA test. Like I said, I did two. I did the second one with them, and then I got this information that I'm telling you now. So I put all this information together. Um, so my whole thing that I got, my haplo combination is U174 slash EM2. All right. So if you look that up together, it'll give you E1B17A, or so excuse me, E1B1A7A. Excuse me, is my whole code right there, right? And that comes out to the Yoruba of Nigeria, right? And then when you type that in, you can actually type that little code in, and it'll tell you, it'll pull it up where these people are. So I've seen that they've been in Spain. I've seen that they've been in England. I've seen that these people have been all over, and I'm learning about these people, and I'm like, man, this is crazy. So at that time, I tried to learn more about the Yoruba, and then there is a sect of the Yoruba. Obviously, some have gone off and dead on the things, but some of them have remained true to what they know, and they are called the Imo Kwaim, and it's called the strange people. That's what that means. And the reason they're called the strange people is because they actually stick to the laws, commandments, and the statutes of the Bible. And I'm literally blown away. So as I learn more about this, they actually know, and they they tell you that they are the lost tribe of Israel, and they tell you what tribe they're from. So I'm like mind blown, right? Because now I have a connection to a group of people in the world, and I can validate my belonging as a Hebrew. Yes. So their belief and their stance is that they are the tribe of Ephraim. And I've known that, like I said, 2015, I started getting this information. It's now 2021. So that's like 6 years that I've known this information. I'm not I'm not hiding it from anybody. I don't go around um, flaunting it either. But if you ask me what you did, Gabar, I definitely will give it willingly.
Nah, yeah. I mean, I just kind of wanted you to share that with the people, because one, I mean, I've never done a DNA, and I know I've shared with you why, but I've shared with you why I won't do it. I just don't want to
Yeah.
get these folks my DNA. I just don't want to do it. But you know, um, but it is interesting that that your markers actually show that you have links to Yoruba, and there's claims of them being of the tribe of Ephraim. You know,
Hmm.
so regardless of the fact, there's still a claim that is to be made, even with the science that is given.
Right.
Because again, you got Christian apologists who want to try to say, well, the science shows that the people over there in the land right now are the biblical Jews, and I'm like, well, the science is also saying this. So, somebody's cooking the numbers and the data somewhere, but definitely, saying you got information that to at least show where your African, so-called African ancestry is, to at least where you can dig into those tribal roots, and understand those uh historical uh traditions that are held over among those people. So,
Right.
just kind of wanted you to kind of share that. So we actually got a question from the audience. I'm actually ready to send this link out. You guys, if you want to come on the panel, ask them any questions, you guys can. Let me put this link in the chat real quick. So you guys can come on. Give me 1 second here. Let me type this in. Join the discussion. So again, we got Ahran Kaham, naval officer. He's been talking about, his journey and experience of being in the military while still being an Israelite. All right. So all right, so I spelled panel wrong. It says O'Neill. so so forgive the spelling. I was
Man,
typing kind of fast. I was trying to hit the P and I hit the O instead. So
you see the autocorrect, man? Come on.
nah, man, ain't no autocorrect on StreamYard, man. and that don't exist. So, but the link is in the chat if you guys want to come in, ask any further questions. Just be advised that Debate Talk for You does not condone any foul language, any disrespect, or any name calling. A violation of those things will have you removed from the platform immediately. So let's keep it clean and be sure to give respect to Sal Showtime and Debate Talk for You and his platform. All right. So now Kashmir wanted me to ask how you feel about the COVID vaccinations. How you actually feel about them?
I feel that's an interesting question. I mean, I feel like everybody else feel like it's it's so the whole thing about COVID and then the vaccine. So one, I had a conversation with a sailor, one of my sailors. He basically was telling me some stuff I already knew, but he said he read this book where it stated that this vaccine would come, and then it basically showed up. So I always kept it in the back of my mind, which I know stuff like that happens because I read books anyway. But the the s- the urgency and the expedience at when that this vaccine showed up, it's it's very uneasy for a lot of people, and that's universal. Obviously, a lot of people go ahead and take the vaccine, but a lot of us, I feel the same way that you all do. Like, how is it that you come up with this vaccine that's so quickly? And I even looked into it. Um, there's a lot. It's not very much to the vaccine, um, which I guess is why you can take this vaccine, I guess, and still get COVID. Like some people have, it said that some people have. But yeah, I'm just as uneasy about it as everybody else. And then the fact that they are mandating that everybody take it, um, starting out uh, from the beginning when they had no type of factual data and just mandating everybody taking it, that's a whole nother level. So I feel like you feel it's I don't know any other way to express that.
All right, all right, all right. Yeah, it's just real interesting, man, with with how they pushing out this vaccine stuff. I'm actually when because at the beginning of the year of 2021, the pagan year of 2021, I that my first show was on the COVID-19 vaccine.
Hmm.
So make sure you guys stay tuned in because when 2022 hits, the very first show in 2022, I will be revisiting that topic. All right. So it's going to be a year in review. Okay. So I
Mm.
will be revisiting that topic. I can't tell you what episode that's going to be, what number episode it's going to be. It's just going to come down the line. All right. So, but when we get to the first episode in 2022, uh, yeah, I will be revisiting the COVID-19 vaccine information, going into a lot of different stuff. All right. Um, yeah. So once again, you guys, the link is in the chat. The link is in the chat. If you guys want to come in, ask any further questions, we'll hang out for a few more minutes. We didn't plan to stay on for too long today. But if you guys got any further questions, you guys can definitely come on in and ask the brother some questions. If you want to leave them in the chat, definitely leave them in the chat. Um, And we could pull him up. Micah Paul says, how much time is required of you in the Navy?
So, like every branch, they all. Uh, so, if you want to retire, obviously it's all 20 years. But you can spend as much time or as little time that you want personally in the military. So, if you wanted to sign up and only do 4 years, that is absolutely your right. Nobody can make you stay in past that. So it's brother, it's all incumbent upon what you want.
All right, all right. And and just to kind of and then he says, do you plan to re-enlist?
No, as I currently stated, I'm 19 years in now, and after this, I should be retiring. So I'm pretty much I'm done after this.
Yeah, they gonna have to give him all his chips with dip. When he done, man. uh I'm just saying, you had to be you had to be their humble servant for 20 years, man. They need to give you that chips with dip.
Right.
So um yeah, so kind of coming back to a question that I asked earlier in terms of, if you're an Israelite, should you join the military? I know initially you kind of said if you got enough understanding, you shouldn't. You should, yeah, you said that you wouldn't recommend it.
Right.
Um now, and then of course you have some people. I actually know some other brothers who were in the military. They're not doing as long of a stint as you are, but they were in there, for a period of time.
Hmm.
So now, um, I had a brother on some time ago, brother Abaya, who was a former police officer.
Right.
And we brought him on how to deal with law enforcement, how Israel should be dealing with law enforcement. He shared some insight on First Amendment rights. We actually run his ad here on Debate Talk for You, for We the People University. Make sure you guys go check that out. So, there's been a number of conversations that he has hosted with regard to, should you be in law enforcement while being in this truth? And it's somewhat divided amongst the nation.
Hmm.
It's somewhat divided. Some people say we should we should even be having our own internal law enforcement. Some people went as far as saying that. Um,
I think I understand that, and and I can understand the division as well. So I will say this: if somebody does plan to venture into one of these organizations, or and you already have understanding, you still have that conversation with the Most High, because eventually there's going to come a time, if we are blessed to see it in our lifetimes, where uh, things will change, and then we will be the ones that have to have all these skills, right? Not only being farmers, but being lawmakers, being people that keep the peace, and things of that nature. So if you are planning to just go try to get some of the skills and then move on, I understand that, but that's truly still incumbent upon yourself. And I personally would not, and this is me only, I personally, because I have that understanding, I wouldn't I went down another brother that would be trying to do that, because I've learned a bunch of skills on different things being in the military. So I am so put it like this: I have a certification uh, as an instructor, right? So as long as I've seen it at least twice, excuse me, I've seen it at least twice, and it's taught to me, or they tell me about it, I can teach people a lot of things. So that's most of what I did in San Diego. I taught a lot of things. I taught people on CPR, and non-lethal weapons, a lot of things. So if you go in there and you get the skills, it can work out for you, but you have to look at the benefit. Are you just doing it just because, or whatever? Like, that's something you really have to plan out. That's why I say it's really on you and your commitment to the Most High. Because if you plan on doing it, you have to have a very strong constitution, whether you are in a law enforcement capacity or a military capacity. Because you can't get lost within either of those systems.
Indeed, indeed. And I actually think some of Israel should be in law enforcement as well as in the military. I do think that some do need to be there for the very reason that you stated, in order to get that insight and to acquire that skill set to bring it back to Israel, so that way we can use it, so that way we could kind of be more self-sufficient. So I've actually been speaking with brothers offline about the skill set that I have of being in the world, because I work with children currently, and I need to be able to use my skill set that I have in the world, to apply it to the nation in terms of helping children being groomed into this walk, and how to deal with things and how to teach them and stuff. I have a certain insight on how to do that from a behavioral standpoint as a behavioral therapist. So, and dealing with the school systems and stuff like that, and working with the school districts and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I have an insight that I could bring into the nation of Israel that I'm actually currently working on. I do. So yeah, I do think that, even also scripturally, I mean, you have people like Nicodemus, you know, how he was in a certain position, and because of his position, it helped to further the gospel of the Messiah. You have people like Cornelius. Now I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to get into the debate about whether he was an Israelite or not. I'm not trying to get into that debate. I mean, do I believe he was an Israelite? Okay, I'll just I've went on record and said that here on Debate Talk. But
Right.
beside the point, he was someone who was a soldier, you know, and so him being in a certain position, kind of helps bring the gospel as well to the people, because of the position that he's in,
Mm-hmm.
in a military, So you definitely have our people historically, they did serve in the military of other nations. It did happen. It's not like
So
it's not like it did not happen. It did.
So let me pose this question, not necessarily to you, Gabar, but to everybody that's listening, right? So I will tell you one thing that I've seen that most people kind of don't know. In my years in the military, I've seen all types of people that are in gangs. Gangs are a real thing. People that come in gang, they come in and they're still affiliated while they're in the military, and they learn all types of things like how to break down weapons, because I know how to do that too. And where do you think they do when they get out?
They take it back to the block.
Right.
Yeah, man. So now you got gang members getting some light military training.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. And I'm
Interesting.
not saying that just because, it just started. It's been happening for the longest. But, I just want to put that out there so people can have this to weigh on their mind as well. So, it's not like somebody's not already doing it. So
All
you
right.
can also arm yourself with some type of skill set.
All right. So now Kashmir says, also, I'm curious, how did the brother feel about Colin Kaepernick kneeling during the U.S. national anthem? Since his brother is in the military, I'm wondering his stance.
Man, I 100% support Colin kneeling for the national anthem, and I will tell you this: they always say that they was going on this whole tirade and saying that it's un-American or something like that, unpatriotic or whatever. Actually, yeah, I'll say 9 times out of 10, if you're on any base, when colors goes off, you'll see military personnel that are trying to get inside or do whatever they can so they're not saluting for the national anthem. So
That's funny. People like, man, can we get this over with? So pretty
yeah,
much that's like the attitude. Is like, man, come on, for real. Like,
yeah, no, ain't nobody trying to, man. No, we don't care about that.
hey, like, look, man, I'm just here for the paycheck.
Yeah, What Beast Mode said.
This
I'm
is a
just here so I don't
job.
get fined, you know.
This is a job, man. It's my job. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
Ah, that is funny. So don't nobody care, huh? like man,
yeah.
Colin, kneel. We
I
want you to
mean,
kneel. Thank you.
yeah, there are some people that are really hard up on it, and you know the types, but
Right, right.
the average military person don't really care about that.
Yeah, I would say so too, man. Because I work with military families, and yeah, a lot of them they are like, man. They got a nice house, so they not complaining about the benefits. They definitely not
Right,
complaining because they
right,
definitely eating,
right.
But yeah, they're like, man, folks. They be like, man, folks in there still asleep, man. They need to wake up. I don't heard some of my clients' parents say that. Like
Yeah,
these are active military members. They like, man, folks need to wake up, man. They like, yeah, I'm in the military, but they were like, man, folks need to wake up.
right.
They like, man, it's my job, man. I'm just there because it's my job.
Yeah, that's
But then you have others who are really patriotic. They're very
mhm,
patriotic,
right.
you know.
Absolutely.
So um all right, well, the link was in the chat, but we don't have anybody coming in. So I guess we'll get some final words. I definitely appreciate you, man, taking some time out, 'cause I know you away on the other side of the world, but you still took time out to come on in. I'm glad we was able to get you on here. It's your first time. Hopefully
Yeah,
we can have you back, to talk about some more things, because I'm pretty sure some people they may want to dig into that DNA stuff with you a little bit more. So
yeah.
yeah,
I'm
they
all
may
about
want to
it.
yeah. They definitely may want to follow up with you on that. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna let you go ahead, get some final words, whatever you gotta say for the people, man. Take as much time as you need, and then we'll get ready to close out.
I'm usually a man of few words, but everything I said, I stand upon. So, um, again, if you choose to come in the military, try to get you a skill set that's going to benefit you and probably the nation at some point. Um, but definitely be able to stand 10 toes firmly planted and have a strong constitution. Understand, it is a system within a system, so you have to learn how to deal with everything. Again, you will have people that test you. Even some chaplains may test you if they understand that you kind of have some knowledge, just so they can see where you're at. But it's all incumbent upon you. If you learn how the system works, you can get more out of it. Um, so you can have those Shabbats off. You can have those feast days off. Um, and obviously, um, try not to rock the system too much because they'll try to get rid of you before you accomplish your goal, whatever that goal may be. But everything has a means, So the whole goal that we're all looking for and striving for is to serve the Most High. So you know this may be um, this just may be the route that I had to go because I've had several conversations with many people throughout the world about the Most High, about the 12 tribes of Israel. I've even, uh, real quick, just a short story, I've even talked with and one of these current Egyptians. He came upon a conversation I was talking to some brothers about how the pyramids were formed, and he happened to come up and he joined in the conversation. I didn't excuse him. I like y'all welcomed him right in, and then I immediately shut him down with the scripture. So you have to really have this constitution. So this may be somebody's path because we are supposed to go out, right, and make disciples. So this may have been my path to go out and make disciples. And everybody I've talked to, I've given them some type of understanding, some type of edification. So hopefully, that strengthens us in the long run. And I'll kind of leave you all with that.
All right, all right, all right. We got a couple more questions. We'll take these couple more questions before we get ready to shut it down. So Kashmir also says, he said he was wondering, like, how do you feel, when people are disrespecting the national anthem, and how you feel when someone is perceived as disrespecting the national anthem.
So those are two different things. If you know the entire national anthem, the entire national
Man,
anthem is
right.
it is disrespectful to us. So I mean, if you're disrespecting that national anthem in itself, I mean, I don't care. I don't feel any way about it. But usually when people are perceived as being disrespectful to it, is because they are standing up for themselves and people that look like them. So, such as Colin Kaepernick. So him and everybody else that took those knees, all those brothers in the Olympics years ago that threw up the fist and everything like that, all those people were deemed as being disrespectful, but they weren't being disrespectful. They just had some sense of pride and some level of understanding of themselves. So I don't I don't I don't feel bad about that. I don't feel that as disrespect. I actually, we're not supposed to be like very proud and stuff like that. I get it about certain things, but it gives me like a sense of some sense of pride, because I understand where their mind is when they do that.
Kahalo. Kahalo. Oh man. Kahalo Yahweh Bahasham Hamashiach Shai. Man. Yes, sir.
Come,
Indeed.
come.
Indeed. Indeed. The last question I have for you before we let you go, it kind of had just popped in my head. So being that if you are in the military, let's just say you are in the military,
Right.
and you're looking to get a COVID-19 vaccination exemption, and it's now is being stated that you need someone of an authoritative figure, of an authoritative position to sign off on it, to co-sign
Mm,
it.
right.
So my question to you is, if you are working for the government, but you're an Israelite, but you're not a part of a camp, but you need this COVID-19 vaccination exemption from an authoritative figure, which would be the head of a camp, or one of the leaders of a certain camp or a church congregation.
Mm-hmm.
Should Israelites join an Israelite camp or congregation because of this?
So I will go back to when I spoke about the Messiah and how he said we should operate, wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove, correct? So the people of the chain of command and the people in power in the military who are saying that you should route these exemptions and you are looking to route this exemption, they don't know how uh, Hebrew Israelites are structured, because as we know, just straight Hebrewism, and as we know it, it's not like a recognized religion. It's because we're trying our best to follow the book from Genesis to Revelation, right? And not everybody's doing that. Not even the so-called people over there. But whatever. That's
The
I'm getting off.
ish, the
Yeah,
ish.
yeah, yeah. Those people. So getting off topic, but they don't know how this is structured. So in your walk, you have come across somebody that is um, you most likely have come across somebody that is an elder or is somebody that has enough seniority within this walk who should be able to um, assist you in what you're trying to do. All you have to do is speak to this brother or this elder, so on and so forth. kind of show them how it needs to be structured. You don't tell them what needs to be said, but they basically will write this up for you. They will write it up. They will basically do a brief summary about the Most High, the law, statutes, commandments, and their understanding of you in the walk, and that should be enough to suffice what they want. Now, if they want something else, then obviously, try to entertain as much as possible to get what you want, but don't get frustrated because it again is a long, lengthy process.
Okay. So basically, is you don't necessarily have to join a camp because I'm not a part of an official camp per se that you see mainstream in Israel. But I do surround myself with brothers, who can vouch for me. Like, again, and I think that Israel needs to do that. Like, brothers and sisters need to stop being off to themselves, being what is being becoming known as an individualite. Like, you need to surround yourself with a body. It doesn't necessarily have to be one of the camps that you see on YouTube, but you do need a body. You need a support system so that way
Right,
someone can vouch for you, especially
right,
if you are in the military or working for the government and you need a COVID-19 exemption. Someone needs to co-sign for you that is authoritative. Okay. Myself, I'm in a position where I can be that for other people because I have tenure in this walk and other people can vouch for me on that. So I have people who can vouch for me and I can vouch for others. So that is what we need to be doing. All right.
right.
So with that, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to shut this down. Man, definitely appreciate you coming on. You
No worries,
definitely got to come back on so they can see how we tag team on this when it comes to these
man.
lessons. They need to see how we get down on that. And Most High willing, man, we definitely gonna make that happen, man. But with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to shut this down. Definitely appreciate everybody in the chat for tuning in, coming with your questions. Um, and I pray that, if you keep this Shabbat today, that this information that has gone out has been edifying for you and that you've learned something. And we're just gonna continue to do the work. Next week, I will be doing a show, but it may be pre-recorded because I will be observing dedication
Hmm.
or Hanukkah for those who don't know what dedication is. So I will be observing that next week. So I actually won't be live on the air. I may pre-record or I won't be live at 9 a.m. I may go live earlier that day, or I may go the night before, or I may pre-record it. Okay, but you guys still will get episode 35 regardless. All right. So just stay tuned for that. Also, just check back for updates here on Debate Talk for You whenever we go live. And I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down. So once again, Sabbath Meal, episode 34, a journey in the military with Naval Officer Ahran Kaham has officially ended. We're going to be signing off. May Yahweh keep you and watch over you always. I bid you all a farewell and shalom.
Shalom.